You never seen this meme where, like, in general, men think that they could land a plane?
More men think that they could land a plane or fight a bear. But what about representing themselves at the Supreme Court? As I have been researching this era when people represented themselves pro se at the court, I noticed all of the examples after World War II were men. That meant I was only getting part of the story. Time to dig deeper. First, note that I'm looking at pro se or pro per cases. This does not include women such as future Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who argued others' cases to confirm her own civil rights. Next, I will draw your attention to the Supreme Court Historical Society website. Marlene Trestman has compiled a spreadsheet of all the women who argued at the Supreme Court since the first, Belva Lockwood, in 1880. The two relevant to this podcast are Lyda Conley in 1910 and Mary Greer Conklin in 1920. We don't have audio from back then, so I'll sum up what I found. Conley was the first woman admitted to the Kansas bar at the turn of the century. She was also Native American, part of the Wyandot people. She challenged a state plan to take over and destroy the Wyandot Cemetery in Kansas City. Several of her direct family members were buried there. Lyda and her sister had to live in a shack on site to ward off vandals, robbers, and settlers. Local public radio, KCUR, has a deeply researched episode on Lyda, which I will link in the description to give her story some justice. In Conley v. Ballinger, Lyda became only the second woman to argue at the Supreme Court. Her argument revolved around the Treaty of 1855. A local newspaper reported, "Her address stirred the great judges deeply." The paper also describes her as a quiet little woman. The court sided with the defendant, the Department of the Interior, that Conley was ineligible to represent the Wyandot tribe, and that the case should have been brought against the United States as a whole.
For every reason we have examined the facts with anxiety to give full weight to any argument by which the plaintiff's pious wishes might be carried out. But if it is obvious that the bill could not be amended so as to state a case within the jurisdiction of the court, the judgment must be affirmed or the appeal dismissed.
Lyda and her sisters continued the occupation and spent time in jail, even after the area was nominally protected.
The sisters spent some time in jail, and, one of the times that Lyda, went to jail and she paid her fine, and the judge said, don't go back, and she basically told the judge, okay, thanks for the warning, but I'll be there tomorrow.
In 1946, Lyda was attacked by a robber and died the next day. The cemetery is still in Kansas City by the main public library and is now a National Historic Landmark. In older sources, including Google Maps, it is called the Huron Indian Cemetery. Mary Greer Conklin was a writer, most notably of the book Conversation. The text is free on Project Gutenberg and has a 3-star rating on Goodreads. Scroll to the section on gossip, because she was at the Supreme Court arguing Conklin v. Conklin, her divorce, and Conklin v. Augusta Chronicle, a newspaper which reported on the divorce. Conklin was only the 7th woman to argue at the court, and the only one labeled pro se in the database. Conklin worked at a college in Macon, Georgia, where she met her husband. The two married on July 28th of 1900, but, quote, because of his drunkenness and his cruelty, end quote, a week later she was institutionalized. In October, she was picked up by her brother and taken to Michigan. In divorce proceedings in 1902, the husband argued that she was a lunatic and incapable of the marriage contract. Mary's family believed that the divorce case was about desertion of the marriage and did not send anyone to Georgia on her behalf. By 1912, Mary was reestablished in Boston. In the preface to Conversation, she credits 2 Harvard professors and gives a post office box address if someone needs to know more about the Russian method of serving. But having a divorce due to insanity was a major problem for Mary, and she began challenging her case. Both cases were argued the same day and dismissed 6 days later for want of jurisdiction. Conklin died in 1943 and is buried in Glendale. I didn't find a confirmed photo of Mary Conklin, but someone uploaded a photo to find a grave for her twin sister, and that is a photo of 2 babies, so this might be the only photo of Mary Conklin that exists. If you want to hear more episodes about people representing themselves at the Supreme Court, please like and subscribe. United States Supreme Court rules and practices have changed since these cases. This was a podcast episode, not legal advice.